Hello, welcome to my first tutorial. Have to forgive me, it's on my mobile phone today. Having some headset issues. Gonna do this one as if you're brand new. You can hit new project, new game. There's also some tutorials. We're gonna go to this one. If you're not familiar at all, I've already created some stuff. You can see over here we have some objects already. Object bullet, object enemy, object player. We have our room 1, which is by default. We also have some sprites. SPR bullet, SPR enemy, SPR player. I just created these from here. You can hit edit image, and there's all these little stuff. These are just basic old notepad stuff, nothing fancy, just for demonstration purposes. We got our bullet, enemy, and player. Usually you want your objects to have sprites. That's their picture or whatever. Not every object has to have one. You can have stuff going on behind the scenes. But that's sprites in a detail. There's your rooms. This is room 1. This is your game space where everything's going on. This is just a very basic room. No tiles or background, just very basic today. Now we look at our objects. Object player, we've already got some events here, a create event and a step event. Create event just have cooldown equals 0, and step event, if cooldown is greater than 1 or equal to 1, cooldown equals cooldown minus 1. This is the method I like to do. There's other shortcuts, but this works best for me. Whatever you like. And we can see if cooldown is less than or equal to 0, and the mouse button left is checked. We're going to create an instance on the layer XY instances, object bullet, and give it a cooldown of 60. This is just so we can't just infinitely spawn these off. This is a little bit of logic. You can set it up different ways. I like to do a cooldown timer. Set to 0 by default. If cooldown is greater than 1, it subtracts to 0. And there's 60 frames in a second by default. So we can fire that once every second roughly. That's called a comment. Image angle equals point direction. I'm actually calculated in the bullet. It seems to be working fine. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. Shooters are not the ones that I do the most. I'm more kind of an RPG man type of stuff, but doing this one, because a lot of people, shooters are kind of where you start. Next here, we have our object enemy. Got a create event, giving him some health. Did a draw event, draw text, just going to show his hit points. And nothing in the collision event. There is a collision event with object bullet. Something I should have done here, it's a good thing to do, is set your draw color. Draw. Set color. And we'll just do white. Usually does it white by default, but it's best to do this. Okay, and finally we have our object bullet. We see a create event direction equals point direction. You need, if you tap on one of these built-in functions, if you see down at the bottom, it tells you what it needs: an X1, a Y1, X2, and a Y2. That's what we provided there. An X and a Y. This current object's X and Y. Mouse X, mouse Y. Image angle is equal to direction. Speed was a variable I created, 16. We also created another local, an instance variable. That's what speed is there. And also we created another instance variable, bullet direction is equal to that as well. We added an attack value, and also I'm going to show you, you can also make it move by motion add. And you see we put our two custom variables. You see there's a comment there for speed. We could also move it that way, but this is to show you how you can change your custom settings, alter your speed, alter the direction. And I always like to file, save. Now let's play it. Let's see what happens. And we can see we're shooting, hits the enemy. Health is going down by attack. We didn't set him to anything to happen if it goes less than 0, but you see we're going to point the mouse there, fire. See, the stuff I have is putting it real close, almost right on point. Works for me. Something else I did to help a lot of people out. When I first started, I struggled here. I used to do everything Global.Variables, can make stuff very hard to keep track of. But you see here in our collision event, this is our object bullet. When it collides with the enemy, it's called the collision event, and we set it up for here. Collision with object enemy can have multiple collisions. This is the main one we're caring about right now, and we can see other ID equals other dot ID. We stored, when this thing collided, we can use that other dot ID and grab this instance and save it to this variable. And then see if you notice below other dot ID, other ID dot enemy hit point equals other ID dot enemy hit point minus attack. That is because these are instance variables. If we do not have that enemy's ID, we cannot access that variable right there because it is not global. It is not within our scope. This is so crucial. It can help you out so much, and that's why I wanted to show this right off the bat. There's so many other ways you could have done this easier, where you didn't need this, where we wouldn't have had an attack value, but this gives you some customization, a real feel for how stuff is right off the bat. This gives you a real good crash course into how this stuff works. And we'll hit play again, showing you that. But that is so crucial right there. That will save you so many headaches to learn that early. Get that stuff out of the way. See, we're going to point our mouse. It's set when we press the left mouse to fire. And see, we're aiming it right there. We'll zoom in. And see, it's hitting right there where we're aiming. A lot of people may say, oh, there's so many different ways you could have done that. Yeah, but as we can see, it works. It's hitting where we want it to. Now let's show something. Let's take this out. Comment that out. And comment out other ID. Show you a little trick. You do a slash and a star. Opens up big comments. End it out, star slash. So what we're doing, we're going to cancel that out. And see, now we have enemy hit points equals enemy hit points minus attack. All them comments are going to do nothing. The code is not going to run that in the green. But now we're not tracking that instance. Let's see what happens now. I believe we're going to get an error message. I can almost guarantee you we are. See, here we go. Error in the step event, object enemy for object bullet. Object bullet dot enemy hit points not set before reading it. That is why I wanted to throw this in. This is so crucial to get this right off the bat. This right here. And see, now we'll just remove our comments. That goes away. That goes away. But by doing this and learning this so early in can save you so many problems. Now everything looking normal. We're getting the instance ID, storing it in an instance variable that object bullet can use, and we're telling object bullet refer to this enemy hit points, and here is their ID. And we better put it here again. And see, now it's not there, so I'll show you. Oh, just type it in. Then dot. And see, GML likes to warn you when there's errors going on. That disappeared. Now let's see what happens since we're back to normal. Now we're working just fine. And see, I'm going to zoom in real close. We're pointing right there. Watch where it hits. Boom. People can say whatever they want about this method, but hey, look, it's working. It's hitting it dead on. It's doing exactly what we want it to, and it's probably within a couple pixels of being 100%. But that is some of the key things for this very basic video. And like I said, here we set up a variable. We're going to uncomment this speed. This is a built-in variable. And now we'll comment out these. See, motion add was what we were using to move with bullets, direction and speed. Comment that out. Now we'll see what this built-in speed variable does. And we can see here, this is not going to be a problem. Just saying it's only referenced once. That will not crash your game. It's just letting you know you got a variable that you're not using. Usually doesn't make sense to do that. But for this, it's okay. And then we can see the same thing is happening. A lot of different ways to do this in here. numerous ways to get to the same solution. And something else we can do real quick, if we go to our enemy object, we'll add a step event. Just regular steps fine, and we'll say if enemy hit points is less than or equal to 0, and sorry, trying to do this and type with one hand, very rough without my headset. As we see there, that is set up. And this is what we call an if statement. Very powerful tool. You can do a lot with these. You can actually code almost a whole game with just if statements and variables. It's a pain, but it's possible. Yeah. So now we're saying if the enemy hit points is less than or equal to 0, something's about to happen. And so we're bringing up a list of shortcuts here, and we're going to go to instance destroy. Since we're performing this within the object enemy, our current thing, it's destroying him. You can actually destroy other instances by this. I could type in obj player there, and it would destroy him rather than the enemy. But that's not what we want to accomplish here. But this can be a useful tool. Comes in real handy later on when you're working with text and stuff. I like to use that before I do another text draw to make sure that it's cleared out. That way you don't have weird stuff showing on the screen. And now let's see what happens. Boom. Now our guy's gone. He's all goodbye. Like I said, very basic. This is just a quick crash course. And once again, these are objects. They are the blueprints, the actual stuff inside the room. Took me a while to catch this. These are what's called instances once they're placed in a room. If we look at it, we can see the instance ID right there. Same thing over here. Once they're inside the room, they're instances. It can seem strange, but these are objects. They're the blueprints. The instances are copies of that. And remember, rooms, which is this here, is where your gameplay goes on. This one's nothing fancy. There's nothing in there. I'll do another video once I get my headset and stuff working, of how to put some tiles in, different kind of stuff like that. Here's our sprites. Remember, if you ever want a picture for your objects, you need to set them up in sprites first. I just created very basic ones in there. And another very important thing that I'll throw out to help the new people, or maybe people that's struggling coding right now, make sure before you start a game, take some time to plan it. I mean, you may have an idea, but just take some time, do some flow charting, think of stuff, how it's going to be organized. You're going to have data structures, arrays, structures, enums, so many different kinds of things. And I mean, if you don't have it all figured out in the first stage, because I mean, sometimes you need to do a stage or two to kind of get an idea of what you're really thinking long term. But you want to start thinking sooner than later, because once you have a project 80-90% done and then you have to go back and make changes galore, it is a big pain in the butt. Believe me, I'm doing it right now. It is not fun. And if I would have spent an extra day or so just actually thinking things through, flow charting, it can save you so many headaches. But you're not going to know it all at the beginning. But just take some time and think about it. You'll be surprised what that can actually do, and help you organize, where you can take advantage of structures and stuff like that, because they're real useful when you're starting from the start, not adding them midway for your project, thinking about how am I going to use these. They're best done at the start, and you can really use them and be just so amazing. Same thing with arrays, enums, so much different type of stuff. We'll get into more of that in later stuff. But yeah, this is it. One thing over here, this is your room. We have instances layer and backgrounds. Your objects, they're called instances in a room. They must be dragged into an instance layer. Here are some of your shortcuts. This is also tile grid. Horizontal, left to right is the X coordinate, as we can see. 1209 is where the mouse is at currently. Y position is 678. So you got left and right, up and down. One other quick thing I will show. Like I said, this room was already kind of set up before y'all got in here. Won't let me do it this time. I'll show you in the next one. I could probably click around and get to it, but just want to show you how we could adjust the room height. I've got it clicked off, messing around, playing with other stuff. But welcome to GameMaker. If you're new, hopefully this video helps. Don't give up. Keep at it. And eventually it'll get easier and easier. And then once you start getting this stuff, it clicks into place. And GameMaker can be very easy to learn. Take some practice, take some wanting to learn. But it's possible. I never took any programming, and I've been able to code, as you can see here. I've been messing around with it a while. These are some of my other projects. I can show another little quick one. Made this one for my son. He used to like playing IO games. Like I said, this one's nothing too fancy either. One thing I'm really starting to work on is my graphics. Getting better at taking time to build stages and all that. I used to like to plow through and just start coding, because that's what I find fun. But building a game is so much more than that. Coding is important, but also you got to have the other stuff too. I've set up a couple little things: classic turbo, default skin. We got a diamond shop, a rupee shop. This game I only spent like a couple hours on, just to spit something out real quick for my son. And you can see we got a little IO here. You can just move around the board, collect this stuff. It's real easy in this mode. We have a turbo, I think. Well, you can't do that in that mode. Turbo, you can. Turbo, you can actually zoom out. Well, no, I'll change that. Used to be a button on here, it's been a long time since I played this, where you could actually zoom out and get a whole map coverage. We see they can actually shoot at us in this one. They will actually chase after you if they are bigger than you. They become very aggressive. I made this one a hard mode. They can actually fire at you. And like I said, they will chase you as they're stronger than you, can eat you. They don't give up. Oh, got one. But as you see, this one is nothing big. I made this game, like I said, in a couple hours. Nothing fancy. I don't even really have backgrounds in this one. Just did this one for my son, but this is the type of stuff you can do. This is, like I said, very basic, but take some time. Always remember, look, do some flow charting. Think about, what is your game going to become. You're not going to know everything up front, but it does help to spend a little time. And after you get a couple stages done, sit down, take another time, think about it, get your data organized, because I'm telling you, as your game gets bigger and bigger, it can really get out of control, and you will be so happy that you took a little bit of time and did this. It will help you out. And I don't want to make this one too long. I actually rambled on more than I wanted to. We'll be doing some more, getting more advanced, looking at structures, arrays, enums, all that kind of stuff. But I want to have my better setup. Just wanted to go ahead and throw this one out. I know it's a little bumpy. I've been doing this with my cell phone as well. But I just wanted to go ahead and throw this one out here, so maybe it helps some people out. And always remember, take away that key thing I showed you about how to get the instance IDs. In the collision, remember, save the other ID to a instance variable. Remember, the last thing I will say, variable scope. You have local variables, which are defined by typing VAR, then a set of letters. Them are used within a certain event. Once that event is over, that variable is out of memory. You have instance variables that pertain to the whole instance, like this guy. He's got his own set of instance variables. These guys chasing me, they have their own set of instance variables as well. And you cannot interact by default with another instance without going through the loops like I showed you. You just can't type in enemy hit point from your player. It doesn't work that way. You have to go through the chain of command, that dot notation I showed you, getting the ID. The other only option is using Global.Variables, which I did for so long. And it can be okay to an extent, but you definitely don't want to have your enemies objects where you have a bunch of it just makes your code so much more complex, and you cannot chain anything together. You're having to keep another variable for this, another variable for that, and it just makes your code so much longer than it has to be. Makes setting up them data structures, data structures like structs, arrays, so much harder by keeping it simple, staying away from the globals. But there are some stuff, like I usually will a lot of times have my player as in global variables, to an extent, because I usually only have one copy. But you need to, these are things, if you have more than one copy of a particular object, say in a game you may have 20 something enemies, 30, 50, 100, you do not want to have global variables for all of those. And we'll talk more about it. Hope you got something out of here, and you see my little cheesy game as far as graphics. But you see, now we got a lot of stuff going on. hope you have a good day or night, and like and subscribe. And oh, also check me out on Patreon. If you like it, hook me up. I'm trying to get a game developed professionally. I want to be the lead producer. So think about it. Check me out. The links will be in the description. It's I believe Mr. Globals are greater than everything or something. But Mr. Global, I'll put the link in the description. But have a good night, everybody, or morning.